Hello everyone, here I am, I'm here, finally. Better late than never. Right, well, what I'm trying to do, or have been trying to do for the past half an hour, is be able to record or do live shows outside of my house while sat in my car, using a Wi-Fi range extender from inside the house. Anyway, it's failed miserably because where I sit and where my parking space is behind a giant bush. And it seems like that organic matter, that very dense, thick organic matter, does not allow the Wi-Fi extender signal to penetrate at all. And I'm sorry for my innuendo sounding language there, but that's literally what's happening. Um, so I've managed instead to steal next door's parking space, which is right next to my window, luckily. So the Wi-Fi range, I'm pretty much just 3 meters away from the router, so it's full whack, full power here with nothing in between. And as it stands right now, my neighbour has moved out, and this house is awaiting its new tenants. So I may be able to use this parking space for a short while yet and get away with it. The reason I'm doing all of this is because I actually have quite a lot of podcasts coming up. I've been invited to quite a few. I've got the Tinfoil Hat tomorrow with Sam Tripoli, and then next Sunday I'm with somebody who has a podcast called By the Fruits. I've just booked in with Conspiracy Pilled as well, and another person called The Bump Podcast. So I have quite a few coming up. And I was hoping to be able to do most of these outside in my car, as not to risk having my toddler wake up screaming in the middle of these very important big name podcasts. That's always a risk I run when I'm chattering late into the night with a 21-month just above me, fast asleep. So I was hoping this could be some kind of workaround. Hopefully this would be okay, at least for tomorrow. Hopefully no one's planning on moving in first thing tomorrow morning. If they are, then I'm going to have to just wing it and hope for the best. But right now the house is empty. I did see the landlord turn up today actually. So maybe he is prepping the place for them. I don't know. But Wednesday seems like a strange time to move into me, so maybe I'll get lucky. But for now, I'm here with you guys. We're gonna have a little fun chat tonight. I don't have a show prepared, like some people may know. I've been away for the past couple of nights. I've been in a city nearby, having a bit of a break, enjoying afternoon tea and bottomless brunch. Some wedding gifts left over from February, which we needed to cash in before they ran out. So me and the wife have just had a couple of nights to ourselves in a city break, and I've not had a chance to record anything, prepare anything, or pretty much do anything work related. The laptop's been at home. I have released a couple of videos which were pre-recorded from a week. Well, one of them was a few months old. The other was just a couple of days old, but I just released them, which would otherwise just be for patrons only. So you guys got a little sneak peek there of what the patrons only get, these random little videos of pep talks, a bit of advice, things like that. I know they've been pretty well received by a few people. I've had a couple of people tell me that the recent message about gossip and hearsay was quite pertinent to things going on in their own life. So maybe the timing of that was all in God's hands, who knows. But yeah, that's what I've had to release this week. And the next following week and weeks are going to be full of these podcasts, like I mentioned. So it's something to look forward to. I'm imagining these podcasts should give the channel quite a big boost in followers and subscribers as well, which is always good. And our little community can get a little bit wider, hopefully. In other news, the Telegram group has officially passed 200. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, 203 members. And look at this, I have another join request while I'm at it. Which is pretty cool. So who's this? This the Mycroft. You can go to the group as well. Excellent. So which is cool, yeah. So yeah, 204 members, which is I'm really happy about. And we've been talking about all sorts of things on here, sharing all sorts of interesting stuff. Hey, look, it's the crazy lady on the plane. Looks like she's had a little interview there. Turns out she's not allowed to comment on what she saw. Ooh, the plot thickens. But as I commented back, I feel like they're messing with us with this one. Something is off. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe they are just trying to gaslight us and make us all feel crazy. Someone sent this interesting breakdown of I Pet Goat 2, which is just a very long read, which is quite interesting. Here's some stuff about Richard the Barber getting his face tattooed onto his wife's neck, which of course is very savoury stuff. It's a nice little community. If you aren't already, get onto the Telegram chat and share all your thoughts and feelings about anything and everything. I'm always on there, sharing my own thoughts. Like, look at this person. This person, Ski Amotep, shared a possible link as to why people do the whole lip stretching thing. Could they be trying to imitate or mimic entities that were perhaps around once upon a time with elongated features? Not unlike the Nephilim. Look at these red-haired, ginger-haired, creepy-looking, serpentine, human hybrid-looking things. Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, so we're always sharing stuff on here, guys. Get on it if you haven't already, and join the conversation. Though if you come at it all preachy and weird, you probably just get booted. There's been a few. There's been a little bit of that as well. We try and keep it light-hearted. We try and keep it fun. We don't attack each other in this place. We don't talk down to one another for having certain beliefs or whatever that is. But if you do bring that attitude in, you will be booted. Look at this. Look what James shared as well recently. These interesting masks from North Americas and tribes. Very clownish. Look at these things. Look at that. Amazing. And these are in a museum somewhere. I can't remember where now. Look at this thing in the middle. It's got jester-like horns. It's got a weird wide grimace, red nose, psychedelic coloured features. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So that's the Telegram group. Right, so what's going on in the chat anyway? Let's try and make this a bit of a question and answer session. I think that could be fun. So I'm just going to let the slideshow run again there. Lovely. And let's see who's in the chat, see who we've got with us. Zolodius, great to see you. Thanks for being here. He says, woohoo. That's the attitude I like to see. Paul is tinkering with his new machinery. Yep, and it was not going well, as I've said. Hi, Kanga. Good to see you. Well, how's it going, says Margaret. Margaret, it's going pretty good. I can't complain. Well, actually, there's some stuff maybe I can complain about. I'll get into it in a bit. I'll share with you a few issues that I have seemed to have developed into my own life and health, which is a little bit alarming, but we have yet to get some final results on what's going on there, so I'll share that with you guys soon. Amelia, good to see you. Humble stranger, we have sound. Yes, sorry I took so long. Thanks for the stream, says Fred. No problem. You're welcome. Ben Barker says he's telling. I'm not sure what that's about, but snitches get stitches, eh? Have a blessed day, everyone, says Amenhotep. Kimberly, good to see you. Paul's going to be busy. I am. I'm going to be very busy. It's not only the podcast, but I do have videos lined up how I want to make stuff about. I suppose I'll give you guys a bit of a preview of what I've got in mind. Let me just quickly get up my docs and see what I've got written down to make videos about here. Let's just get off the book document. I don't need to get that one open right now. Right, so I've got this little file called Show Ideas. Let's see what I've got on here. What can I still talk about? I've got cave paintings and rock art is something I've been waiting to make some videos about. I've got a few photos gathered together. We're going to go across the whole world and look at some of the Aboriginal native rock art found everywhere and the representations of these beings. I know a lot of people out there follow the symbols of an alien sky interpretation, where it's these rock carvings are representations of electromagnetic phenomena which happened in the ancient past at one point when the planets aligned in our skies, creating all sorts of signs and symbols which were mimicked through rock art. However, I don't believe that. I think that takes a heliocentric worldview to create that kind of imagery and understanding, and also I don't quite think that the electromagnetic phenomena does actually fully explain the bizarre features on the humanoid beings represented in all rock art. I think it leaves out a lot of other representations in rock art which cannot be explained via electromagnetic phenomena, because the characters and figures in these rock art depictions of ancient beings are a part of a narrative involving them teaching humans stuff and being a part of hunting sessions, which I don't think electromagnetic phenomena would have been involved with. So yeah, that's something I'm going to make a video about, definitely. The Mimi folklore in Australia, going back to Australia again, and the bizarre dream time. The Mimi is a very strange creature, which I've discovered, which I think warrants its own video. But I won't get into that right now. And then I want to make a video about Lee Bowery as well, and this character within the fashion industry and the art industry, who again leans towards a clown imagery. Off the back of my recent music breakdown of the clown aesthetic found within music, used as a way of, let's say, channeling the spirits. I do think every art industry does the exact same thing, and I want to bring that to you guys and show you examples of that. So that should be good. I've got 3 videos lined up there as well. I've always got Richard the Barber in question mark, whether or not to do a video about this guy, but I'm still just going to sit back and watch with this one. I've still got some book readings I could do, and I have a video I want to make about people who have killed people, so serial killers or maybe just one-time murderers, who have dressed like a clown. There seems to be quite a few, a good handful of them, which are bizarre case studies, which I want to bring to you guys as well. So I've got a few videos lined up there, and there's a few topics I want to cover. Among many other things, I'll always have my random ruminations in between, which I'll bring to you guys too. But there's some upcoming video ideas. Yeah, and like I said, a lot of podcasts to do as well. So I don't know if any of these will actually be out immediately. Usually takes about a week or 2 for a podcast to be released once recorded. But I am looking forward to them. I'm kind of nervous about the Sam Tripoli one tomorrow, actually, the tinfoil hat one. He's a big name, he's got a huge following. And obviously the reception to my theory is going to be a very mixed bag from a very eclectic group of listeners. Some people are going to love me, some people are going to absolutely hate me. That's usually how it goes. There's very little in between when it comes to my personality and what I like to talk about. I am the Marmite of conspiracy, it seems. Anyway, let's go to the chat, see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Hey folks, everyone's saying hi to each other. Hi E Joyce, good to see you. What is your take? Was that guy real or not? I honestly, I don't know. I don't really honestly know what was going on there. The conspiracy theorist within me wants to lean towards it's this one giant psyop. It's kind of like a revelation of the method scenario being played out on camera, on film. The mainstream media picked up on it, and rolled with it in a way. I think it's something they kind of wanted us to see, to get people used to this idea that the tares among us, the non-human entities among us are going to start revealing themselves, and this is kind of like a soft disclosure. It's like the first initial release of how not to react when you see one type of thing. This crazy lady reacted in such an over-the-top way about seeing one of these entities and seeing through the veil. And I think it's just their way of trying to say, like, you don't want to be like this woman. You don't want to be this crazy lady, dear. Be calm, be cool when you see one of these things. They just want to be your friends. Say hi, don't freak out. Maybe it was something like that, like a long con predictive programming type situation. That's what the conspiracy theorist inside me wants to say. But it could literally just be a woman who was on a lot of drugs and very drunk, freaking out over nothing. She might have even just been lying. She might have just been saying that to convince the people to let her off the plane, because she just didn't want to be on that plane anymore for whatever reason. Maybe, but with all this other stuff coming out, and all the hype around it, there's something psychologically messed up about the whole scenario. So I don't know. I don't know if the thing she saw was real or not. But let's watch how it unfolds. It's going to be interesting to see how all this unfolds. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely fascinated to see how it all plays out. So let me just restart this image. So there we go. Right, what else is going on in the chat? She took a payout to remain quiet, it sounds like, says Kimberly. Maybe. It seems like that's what, with the recent release of the video, it seems like she does have to be quiet about whatever she saw. I'm not sure. Kimberly F. Richie isn't married, Paul. Duckface. Yeah, I didn't think he was married, but maybe that's his pet name for one of his friends, like one of his fangirls, his wife or something. But the video is titled, Richie the Barber's wife gets his face tattooed on her neck. That's what he's titled it, so make of it what you will. But either way, it's messed up, isn't it? That recent video is pretty messed up. I mean, personally, I am a born again Christian, but if I was in that state of mind where I'm brand new born again, like Richie claims to be, a very fresh Christian, I think the last thing I would have thought to do during that time of my life was get my face tattooed on a woman's neck and film it and put it on YouTube. That's probably the last thing I'd be doing. So there's something pretty suspect about all of that. It's not a sign of it's not good fruit, is it? I don't know what that is. But yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about that for now. Joyce, I hope you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. Well, I spent the first half of it eating in a Tim Hortons and then travelling and then doing a weekly grocery shop and then trying to get a child to bed. So it's been all right. It's been fun. It was nice to. I miss my baby. I miss my son. It was nice to be reunited with him, and he clearly missed us. So that was cute. But now I wonder how much longer it's going to take before I'm just sick of him again. He's going through that awkward, terrible stage of pushing buttons. But no, it was nice to see my son again today. I bet Plain Lady is an Order of the Eastern Star member, says Humble Stranger. It wouldn't surprise me if she was just a part of the whole thing. We know they have actors out there who play roles in media events and pretend it's real and then convince us that these are real things happening when it's all just paid actors putting on a show for us. It wouldn't surprise me if it was just another one of those situations. It really wouldn't. He's married now, Kim, says Kanga Kong. Oh, there you go then. Once you see the clown symbolism, you can't unsee it. That's right. If he did get married, that was quick. I was just going to say, I agree with Kimberly. That was pretty fast. I don't remember him getting married. Tinfoil Hat would be an interesting one for sure. Triple E's a bit of a questionable character to me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't hold much against him. I know he's a part of that. Is it Eddie Bravo? Is it that the Eddie Bravo crew, and maybe loosely tied and connected together with maybe the Joe Rogan scene, that type of thing. I think the comedy circles. But I'm not holding judgment towards the guy. He just runs a conspiratainment podcast, where he talks about crazy conspiracy theories and has a joke about them, and tries to keep it lighthearted. I understand what I'm getting into in that respect, and I plan to have fun with it. I'm not going to take myself too seriously during the podcast. I don't think I'm just going to have a laugh, go along with it, and just share my theory and ideas, and people that want to hear it can go along for the ride, But yeah, I'm not going to take myself or the whole thing anything to heart. If anything goes down, it is what it is. He has his shtick and I have mine. The picture of the barber is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. Have you thought about the Troll movies? I haven't. No, I've not seen those. Paul could be an EMP, a type of electromagnetic DMT. I'm not sure what that's in reference to there. Zuzadu, if you could just make that a bit clear, Cat. Ears to hear, eyes to see. The picture of the barber, yep. Paul, you'll do great. Oh, well, thanks, Kimberly. Share the links when your pod appearances are posted. I will. I always share the links in a community post whenever that does happen. There's a few podcasts already out that you can listen to. I was obviously on the Ravens podcast last week. You can go to his YouTube to listen to that. I was also on the Sabbath at Midnight's podcast not so long ago. That was good fun. I was on My Family Thinks I'm Crazy podcast as well. That was great fun as well. And I feel like I've got plenty more lined up. Yeah, so it's going well. The word of the theory is getting out there and spreading slowly, which is great news. I'm happy about that. A murderous clown is featured on a season of American Horror Story. One of the most horrible clowns. Ooh, that doesn't sound too nice. They're very prideful. She's probably doing a social experiment. I'd do it for fun, says my wife. Yeah, that woman probably. She might just be playing us all. You're right. Seems like it was a performance. Yeah, it does seem like it was a performance. You're right. Hey, Paul, what is the background history on nutcrackers being portrayed as clowns, or is there one? I'm not sure about that. Kimberly, I haven't looked into that. With Christmas not so far away, maybe I should do a Christmas special. We'll talk about Santa Claus as well. They want recognition, ultimately worship. The clowns, yes, that's kind of what the clowns are after. In terms of clown killers and serial killers, I'm not going to make a video about the fictional ones. I want to make a video about real life people who have leaned towards making themselves look like a clown when murdering people. The fictional killers are one thing, the media is one thing, but real life situations where people have channeled demonic entities looking like clowns, I think is a lot more pertinent to my theory. Her as above, so below hand gesture was so obvious. Who swings their hands around like that? Was it a coincidence, says Batman. No, you're right, that's what I noticed immediately. Which is why that was the thumbnail of my video on the situation, where I basically titled it, are they trying to gaslight us? But yeah, people don't move like that. It was very strange. I'm excited that you're live streaming, but I've got nothing to say, really. Before finding your channel, I was all about thinking that demons feed off your feelings and energy. It says, Kobe's me. But I'd assume love and joy they can't feed on. It's hard to say. I've been looking into Loosh energy, and in terms of demonic entities feeding off of negative energy, I do think there is a huge aspect to that. There really is, but I think they can also feed off laughter and any form of energy, really. They'll generate it in you and then drain it from you, essentially. And someone pointed out something quite interesting along that lines. I never mentioned it in the Loosh video I made. If you haven't seen the Loosh video, maybe go and check it out. It might give you a bit of an insight. But there's this extra thing I realised about people who take psychedelics. Specifically salvia, actually. Salvia divinorum was a really powerful one. And it happened to me when I used to do it. But if you take Salvia divinorum, one huge side effect is manic, insane laughter. And you cannot stop. It just comes out of you, and you sound like a lunatic with laughter. It's like you're laughing, but it's borderline agony. It sounds like you're in extreme pain while laughing because you can't stop. It's a psychopathic, terrifying sound that came out of me whenever I did salvia, and comes out of a lot of videos of people who do salvia. Look it up, type in salvia trips, and you'll see it's such a common occurrence. And that noise of extreme hysteric laughter is an interesting concept. And if these demonic entities are channeled primarily when you do these things, and maybe a side effect of them being in that realm all the time for eternity has driven them mad and insane to the point where they are just laughing all the time. Hence why, the Joker analogy of the Batman Joker is this person who can't stop laughing is insane, On the latest Joker, he has that illness, doesn't he, where he can't stop laughing either. It kind of just happens randomly. So maybe there is this connection to positive laughter energy as well being drained by the demonic forces, and if the demons are synonymously linked with a clown, it would make sense that, the clown can either instill great fear in an individual, or it could evoke great laughter and joy from an individual. It doesn't matter which energy is produced. The demon, which is present, being channeled by the person dressed like a clown, will drain it either way and get what they want, So there's an interesting thing to think about there. Again, I'm just batting around some ideas and speculation along the theory of this, but in terms of demonic entities feeding off of energy, I don't think it necessarily has to just be negative energy. I think they can drain human beings of any form of energy. The key is to be protected from that with the Holy Spirit. That's basically it. Hence the phrase, test the spirits. Brand new Christians go real hard in their repentance, leaving the old life behind, says Batman. Usually they do, yes. MK Ryan says, it might not be a thing across the pond, but have you ever heard of the kids show The Big Comfy Couch? I just now happen to think of it. The main girl and her doll were both very clownish. No, I haven't actually seen that show myself. So that doesn't really create any imagery in my mind. I can Google it now quickly. Let's have a look. Big Comfy Couch. Let me just get these keys out of the ignition as well, because they're annoying me by rattling around. Big Comfy Couch. The Big Comfy Couch. Images. Yes, there she is. It's a clown woman with a clown rag doll as the main character. And she's supposed to be a child? I don't know. There's something creepy about this. I don't know. I'm feeling there's something quite creepy about this. Let me just share these images with you. Let's have a look. Screen share. So something off about this. I don't like it. Something creepy about a fully grown adult pretending to be a child like this really weirds me out. And that's kind of what a clown is. It's type of vintage clowns. It's a fully grown man dressed like a baby. That's what the original clowns were, and it was just eerie and bizarre to behold. And I don't like it. It's got that uncanny valley thing to it, and that's what that woman reminds me of. Like, look at this fat, balding, middle-aged man dressed like a baby. There's something creepy about this. That doesn't sit right with me at all. It really doesn't. It's borderline something I'm probably not allowed to say. Yeah, the old clowns are the worst clowns. They really are. They are the creepiest. Look at these things. Monsters. Monsters among men. Absolute terrifying beasts. Look at that. See, this child emphasizes it all. This picture always makes me laugh. Look at the state of that. Absolutely terrifying. I could do this all day looking at these creepy clown photos and finding the weirdest ones for my collection. But look at this one, look at this clown in the middle here, dressed in like a baby's bonnet tie. I don't know. Well, it's not a bonnet, but it's like a dress. I don't know. Were these the first cross dresses? Technically, I don't know. Yeah, but they claim, they claim it's for the kids. It's all for the kids, I ain't buying it. Look at this one. This one's terrifying. What's going on here? Like, why is this thing even here? Think these kids enjoy that? I don't think those kids are truly enjoying this imagery. I don't feel like it's something they actually wanted. I don't think anyone asked for that, Ugh. Yeah. People back then, there was something wrong with them mentally. Like, to think that this was cute or funny and for the children, there was definitely something wrong with these people back then. The mentality, their brains didn't work right, and what they thought was suitable for children just was not suitable for children in any way, shape, or form. And they just didn't see it, Are these all like seriously just under some bizarre MK Ultra brainwashing, suppressed cognitive dissonance, not seeing evil for what it is right in front of the mind melting state? Like, what was wrong with them? How could they look at this and not feel it? Feel that something was off, something was wrong. They didn't. They just let the kids just hang around with these things. And the children would scream and they'd laugh. Oh, how cute! Look how scared they are. Isn't that cute? Not really. Not really. Anyway, I'm trailing off on a tangent. let's go back to this group chat. See what's going on. Here's your slideshow of creepy images again. Yeah. Dracula fangs on a lot of these clowns. Yeah, especially a lot of the old the clown. Well, the ancestor spirits represented in these rituals often do have tusks or horned teeth in some way. Um, I hope I don't offend anyone, but blank queens are a bit similar to the clown appearance sometimes. Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about that, I don't think. If I do, then I run the risk of getting in trouble. But yes, you are 100% right, my screen name 007. They are a huge part of it. They are literally a pure manifestation of the Nephilim in its purest form. I'm just not allowed to point that out. Um, but yes, that is true. Um, Sorry, the chat's jumping all over the place. I'm just trying to catch it up with it properly. Why all the fast food like to use clown mascots? Well, yeah, there is that. Uh, Molly is her name on the couch show. They want to keep the plebs too afraid to fly too. That's interesting, yeah. Richie literally speaks with a forked tongue. He does, yeah. He has his tongue split, doesn't he? And he often shows it off on his shorts. I've been hearing a lot of Grimace character. What's he supposed to symbolise? Just a human genetic hybrid monster, which is what a lot of the human beings did to themselves back in the day, under the leadership of the Nephilim, which is Ronald McDonald, the clown. Richie literally speaks with a forked tongue, Grimace, from McDonald's. Just want to say hello to my fellow Christians, says 5.56 Media. Hello. Dang, I missed all those podcasts. Yeah, well, I've advertised them all, Kanga Kong, in my community tab on YouTube. I've posted every time I've been told that they've been released. I've posted it on there, so you can go back and see them all. Here I'm stuck in the middle of y'all. Maybe you should show the great covers your wife created for your book. Should I? Shall I show everybody the covers my wife has been making for the book? I wonder if I even can. Do I have them downloaded? Let's have a look. Let's share the screen. Let's just go here. I think, yeah, here were some rough drafts we started off with. This is something she slapped together quickly. This was one of our first initial ideas, having like Polaroid type photos all scattered around. One of my ideas was to kind of create a collage using all these different features from each one, and then making a clown face out of them, out of different features. But it seems overly complicated. And then she came up with something like this. We played around with the placement of a few of these, and we got something like this instead. And in the background of this one, you can see there's a black and white image of a clown. We also have a coloured version here with a coloured image of a clown in the background, and we're not sure which one looks better or worse. This isn't final at all. I'd have to still get permission to use all these images. I have to go and request a lot of stuff to work on it before we settle on a final image. And obviously it says Nephilim look like clowns, but that's not what the title of my videos are called. It's The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. But even this might be better. Nephilim look like clowns, just a shorter version. Maybe that is better or worse. I don't know. But yeah, this is what my wife has been working on recently to help out, which is it's fun. I think I try to try to choose the most clownish representations in folk traditional ancestor worship cultures. And I think I made a good selection here that really draws home the point that they really did look like clowns. I mean, look at this representation of the Gorgon here below my name, which is on the chest of Athena. They represented Medusa looking like a literal clown with the makeup and everything. Then right next to it, to the left, is a representation of it again, in stone instead. And they were pretty consistent. But they really did look like clowns. It's it's disturbing. The more I look at it, the more disturbed I get by my own theory, because it's just weird. It's just weird. Even I know how weird it sounds. I really do. I'm not oblivious. But it's so fascinating. But there you go. That's something my wife has been making recently. If you haven't seen already. Um, Santa has a red nose in older depictions, and Krampus is unspeakable. Yeah, Krampus is a bit of a beast. He's a wild man representation, which is what the clowns come from, or the Harlequin originally. He is an infiltrator. I'm guessing that's talking about Richie there. I saw that Nephilim white face and red hair on Florence and the Machine music vid. Dog days are over. Yes, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. The red hair, pale white skin, red lipstick, deep set black eyes or larger than life eyes or blue eyeshadow is a big common one because they had blue glowing eyes. If you see anything like that, then they're definitely trying to channel the spirit. And that's how they do it. They dress like the thing to evoke the thing, just like these people are doing here. Well, actually, the irony is, in Europe, when they do it, like the cookery here, they believe they're actually warding away evil spirits. Some weird, twisted deception happened along the way, and the original practice, the far more ancient and well understood practice of dressing like demons to attract demons, got twisted into the Christianized world as dressed like the demon to scare away the demon, and I feel like we're being played there. Catholic based bizarre rituals like that have it all backwards and wrong and messed up, and we're actually bringing demons closer to us rather than further away when we dress like one, and we don't realize it. We think we're scaring them away. I mean, why the hell would a demon be scared of a human being dressing up like one? Just think about that, No, it doesn't work. I do believe when it says that Samyaza, or is it Azazel, I can't remember which one, taught the women and mankind how to use makeup, and colouring tinctures and all this type of thing. I don't think it was specifically talking about using makeup just to attract people, to look sexy. I don't think that's what it was about. I think it was teaching them the ancient and well understood art of how the way you dress and the way you portray yourself is intrinsically linked with the spiritual realm. And you create portals and gateways by using the art form of makeup and fashion and clothing to evoke spirits and interact with the spirit realm. It was an ancient practice that goes all the way back to then. And that's what was really being taught. That kind of witchcraft was being taught by the fallen angels, And that's what all these folk traditional tribes do, who venerate the Nephilim. They dress up and paint themselves to look like things in order to gain power from them, to venerate them, to let them into their body on purpose, And I do think that is one of those ancient practices that the Watchers taught. And that's what it was really all about when it said it taught makeup to people. It wasn't about just making men think you're sexy. That's just so stupid when you think about it. It's far more realistic that what they were teaching was a method of staying in communication with the demons, even once our children are dead, because the Watchers knew what would happen. The Watchers knew that the punishment they would get for creating the Nephilim. They knew it. They knew God would wipe them out. But they also knew they'll have an immortal soul, and we will be able to get get them back into the world through people allowing them to be possessed. Do you understand? They knew once our children are dead, we can keep their spirits in the world by giving them bodies to inhabit. So we'll teach mankind now how to use clothing and makeup to create connections to the spirit realm to allow our children to come back through them. That was the plan, you know. That's why they taught them these things. And the stupid people who learn all this stuff thought they were, learning things that makes their life more powerful and better and greater. Look how amazing I am. I can channel the spirits and gain strength from them, or invincibility or something, or whatever it is they want, the ability to read minds or knowledge or something, whatever, some stupid thing that makes them feel powerful and special. That's what they got out of it. But what the Watchers got out of it was their own children being able to come back into the physical world again. And what Lucifer and his agenda and all this the satanic plan has now are ways of getting people to bring the demons back into the realm. It's all connected, it's all messed up, and it's all hidden under hundreds of layers of clownish irony and symbolism. Sorry, I went off on one a bit there, didn't I? let's reel it back. This is supposed to be a good time, Let's reel it back and let's read some of these comments. What's going on? Florence and the Machine comments. I found that one again. I agree with the laughter. If they were feeding off someone who hadn't had the Holy Spirit, so okay. I can agree with that, says Kobisme. Yeah, well, the whole energetic vampire thing is an interesting concept, isn't it? It's definitely a huge part of how the demonic entities operate through the spiritual into the physical. I'm not an expert on it, though, to be honest. There's many forms and ways they can interact with our realm, and that does seem to be a huge part of it. I just think there's something to be said for the symbolism that they gave us in Monsters, Inc. They switched from scream power to laugh power, and both powers generated energy for their realm. I think they were telling you something there, but there you go. That's that topic put to relative rest, I think. Let's get that from the background there. Look into what exorcists have to say on demons. Very eye-opening. Now, sure, if we ever shared the different videos on this, but Armor of God has many videos on it. Interesting. Clowns love laughter, it seems. Yeah. Melanie Howe, I don't know who you're talking to exactly or what you're saying, but you seem to be ranting on and on and on about Paul being a fake apostle. He made changes for some reason. Yahuwah does not change. He was the same yesterday, today, and forever, which is fair enough. I'm not putting you down for having the strong faith, but who are you talking to? Who are you saying all these things? Have I got the wrong chat? I'm on top chat rather than live. Am I missing loads of stuff here? I just see you shouting into the wind, and I don't know who you're talking to exactly. All the comedians who serve the enemy, says ears to hear. Yeah. Alright, they're talking to Space Marine. I've just switched it to live chat rather than top chat, and now I'm seeing more stuff. That's very annoying that I keep forgetting to do that. Demons, for one, can cause life hardships, financial, family, anything to bring you down to the sub-level. Pretty much, yeah. I tried salvia one time, had a horrible trip because as a Christian I wasn't welcome. Yet my buddy laughed like an insane person, like the Joker. Wild. Yeah, insane laughter is a huge part of that experience, definitely. I believe I saw a demon in my ex when she had me try it. I thought it was weed, which I was never a fan of anyway. Yeah, salvia is messed up, man. Salvia is powerful stuff, and it was legal and readily available in head shops all over the UK when I was growing up. Um, just people didn't know about it, so nothing was ever done about it. But I'd say it's equally as powerful, if not more powerful, than DMT itself. To be honest, it's one of those it went under the radar. But yeah, manic, insane laughter is a common side effect of using it. They can feed off laughter you described, though. That is not positive laughter. Yeah. I think fear negative is easy to keep going long term, as overt happiness is fleeting. That's true. That's true. But you think about performances in general, although laughter and happiness is fleeting, you do see that, like say comedians, stand-up comedians having packed amphitheatres full of people roaring and cackling with extreme uncontrollable laughter at the mouth noises they're making, the words they're saying. There's something about that, maybe. Maybe those themselves are just like musicians go on stage, and channel the entities and get fame and adulation thrown towards them. The demon within them gets to feed off that energy. Are these performers who do stand-up comedian routines doing the same thing in a way? Generating this energy from what they do, the laughter they cause, usually through some kind of irreverence of some kind, isn't it? And is there an entity there feeding off that energy too? Is it just a giant buffet feast for demons whenever these events do happen, for whatever reason? And generating extreme manic laughter is just as powerful as causing a lot of fear for people. And the thing about laughter energy is that people will willingly um, give themselves over to produce it. People will gladly go and pay to go see a comedian make them laugh. But not many people would like to pay that often to go and purposely get scared, unless it's Halloween or they want to watch a scary movie, let's say. But it's I say that's less common. So who knows? It's just interesting to think about. It's definitely interesting to think about. Comedy has definitely been used to normalize evil and perverse agendas. Yeah, exactly. There was a chess checkerboard on the wall of the first photo. Oh yeah, these photos are just going to keep. I have 400 of them. I've been compiling a lot of images to try and prove my point. Yeah, in fact, this section's about to come to an end, and I'm about to run another 100 photos from a different section. I have so many that they can't just all roll back to back. I had to separate them into 4 separate folders in order for this for this program to actually do it correctly. Interesting. Mass involuntary satanic ritual abuse. Exactly. Peter Fogel asks, have you ever read any conspiracy threads from Nick Hinton? He's secular but posts interesting theories. I've not, Peter. No, I've never looked into it before. They argument it with following the natural law, which in Thelema is specific, not dictionary meaning. Morality is on the same level, so blanks would not be out of the equation. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Rh negative blood type? I think it's dangerous to get too caught up in that. Okay. I think we're living in a very different time now. Now, I understand there are the wheat and the tares and all that type of thing, but it's not for you to discern who is and isn't that, and then what are you going to do with that information? You let them grow together till the end, and then they're separated before the harvest at the end time, not by you, but by God himself, So don't get too caught up in that, trying to find out who is and isn't the corrupted seed line of the serpent or whatever, Your energy is best spent elsewhere, I mean, it's interesting to think about and speculate. It does seem like it's some kind of leftover corruption or a part of some kind of genetic engineering of the past or perhaps an indicator of, like you said, like I said, this the tares within among us, or the satanic, the serpent seed within which we have enmity between. I think it's interesting, yes, but you're just borderlining eugenics type thinking when you start getting into that. You really are. And it does not lead down a clever, smart thought processing path. I don't think. I don't think it's a good look. It certainly isn't going to win any souls over when you start talking about it to people who don't have a clue what you're on about. But it's obviously relevant in its own way. I guess that's all I can really say about it, to be honest. There you go, some more photos for you. Let's just reset this on. There we go. Talking about adverts on this video. To be honest, I don't look at the settings I have for adverts with my videos, but it could be that I've ticked that they can put mid-roll ads on live shows for all I know. It could be automatically ticked before I even start. How's it going? Surprise live stream, says Drunk Wedding Photographer. Yes, it is. Just a random one. I was testing out how good the signal can be from outside of my house. If you pull back to the start of the video, I explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing the live show. But yeah. Grimace Shake. Keely Marie, 100%. What did my wife say recently that I missed? Never mind. I can't pull back the comments and find it. I suffered having to deal with these pictures, she said. Yeah. Oh, the community tab. I didn't look at this as Kanga. Yeah, I've got loads of stuff on the community tab on my channel. Oh, we're talking about the books here. Yeah, that one's crap though. Don't judge that one. Okay, so I'm way behind in the chat then. Okay, let me catch up. I have more ideas now anyway. Yeah, we do. We have. Yeah, we were talking about a few ideas when we were walking around Waterstones, the bookshop in England, trying to figure out what kind of book covers stand out. And we have some more ideas. My wife says clowns look like Nephilim. So technically, my theory is called the Nephilim looked like clowns, which is true in its own way. It is true, but clowns obviously didn't exist then, and that's not grammatically correct to the historical context. Technically, clowns, which were created today, are designed to look like Nephilim. So technically, my theory is the other way around. Clowns look like Nephilim. Should be, on a technicality, what this is called, this theory. But I think the Nephilim looks like clowns is more punchy and catches people in like a hook. So that's what I'm sticking to. And my wife hates that. It really annoys her, and she will not let it go. But tough. It's my book. I'll call it what I want. Out of 50 in the chat. 22 thumbs up, yeah. Oh, cool. I'm glad someone out there is pushing for more thumbs up. Are they bringing back blank over in the UK? Like they are here in the US? Yeah, actually. Someone posted in the Telegram group that they've just released a news article on the 23rd, I think it was, saying that anybody who has had the thing within the past 2 years could just drop dead at any moment. Like, talk about ramping up the fear. But they've just randomly released this news article. See if I can get it up so you can read it, so I don't have to say it out loud. Basically saying, if you have had it within the past 2 years, you may just die unexpectedly at any moment, randomly. It's kind of like, bloody hell. That is talk about fear, Yeah, here it is. I've got it here. Let me share the screen. But I think what this is just their attempt at trying to cover up that the thing they made everybody get is likely going to wipe them out. But just read that, read the headline and then look it up yourself, But this is what the British news is releasing. So they're ramping up the fear. Yes. It's a global agenda, and we know better. We know it's all just a load of bollocks. We're going to try our best to, fight against the coming deluge of people telling us we're evil, which is just right around the corner. We know the modus operandi. We know how this all plays out. But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to put up much with it this time. I'm just going to tell them to shut up. They're just being idiots, from the get go. If anyone tries to tell me I'm a bad guy for not following their delusions, I'm just going to tell them you're absolutely insane. You've lost your minds. Leave me alone, you psychopaths. I think that's just going to be my go-to response from now on, to be honest. But yes, we are certainly experiencing the same renaissance of the thing as everyone else is. Absolutely. Um, this is going to be a groundbreaking book for sure. Well, thank you, Amanotep. I appreciate that. Still suffering PTSD from the Aleister Crowley poetry. Yeah, I am sorry about that. I promise I won't do something so heinous ever again. What is the Catholic dressing that invokes them? I'm not sure, but I do know they wear the mitre hats, don't they? Which is reminiscent of the fish god, the Dogon fish gods, the fish god cult. So I do know there's that as well. That never made sense to me, even as a child in grade school, that people dress up to scare off the demons. Yeah, which is what Halloween's supposed to be based on, isn't it? Where people would dress up like monsters in order to ward away the evil spirits during the time of Samhain, when the spiritual veil is at its thinnest, supposedly. But I don't. That sounds like a really messed up, corrupted Catholic way of getting people to dress like demons when the veil is its thinnest to bring them into our world. And they've just lied to all these Christians, these good-hearted Christians, that it's okay to dress like demons because you're scaring away the demons in some way. It feels like a conspiracy. I'm just gonna say it. I suppose that's what I'm all about. Um, Something dodgy about the whole thing, honestly. And of course, it's for the kids. It's always for the kids. Would you make a scarecrow look like a crow to scare the crows? That's a good point, Mycroft. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Why do some clowns associate themselves with tiny dogs? It's to emphasize their size in comparison to things, because the Nephilim themselves were giants. It's just to make themselves seem bigger, to mimic that I am a giant motif. Uh, Children of Lamech, the original family who made pacts with the sons of God. Well, it was during the time of Jared, the sixth generation from Seth, when it all happened, when the Watchers came down. So any lineage of Cain that was around during that time, and their daughters were involved. And don't forget, people lived for hundreds of years throughout generation after generation. So yes, the children of Lamech, Tubal Cain being one of them, was a master builder of weapons, himself. They were a big part of it, yes. Um, sure, and it only took, I think, about 4 generations after Jared for the whole earth to become utterly corrupt very quickly after that moment. But yeah, it was. If coincidentally enough, if the Book of Lamech of Cain is anything to go off, it was actually they decided to come down during the last generation of the Curse of Cain, which would have been to have the possible, if you want to take the Book of Lamech seriously, of Cain seriously, then the mark was white skin, and it was in that last generation before the white skin disappeared. Now, I'm not talking about Caucasian white. This is chalk white, porcelain white, vampire white skin, leprous white. This is unnaturally white skin. That curse ended after the 7th generation, and Lamech was the last generation to have it, and he was, according to that book, already around long by the time the angels had done their thing and procreated and mixed with women, the daughters of Cain. He'd been around for a while. He makes friends with a giant that's been around for a while, so that means they did mix themselves while that Cain, that white, leprous white mark was still prominent. So it makes sense that all the original Nephilim would have had that trait too, which is leprous white, porcelain white, clownish white skin. So it's interesting to think about. But again, a lot of people don't take that book seriously because it is obviously an extra biblical pseudeographical text. It's not canon, but it's still a book of the time, and it gives you insight into some thought processes and things that could have been happening during that time, which can't be ignored. Just because it isn't a part of the biblical canon itself, it's still a story from that time. So, I take it as it is kind of how we should take that. The Gathering of the Juggalos, yeah. Do you think war paints counts as the same thing? I think so. I think it's there to obviously change the persona of the individual. Now, a persona literally is Greek for mask. And we have different personas for different situations. We would describe it in the Western context. And, the persona one would put on when dealing with a job interview is not the same persona they would carry themselves within day-to-day life when hanging around with friends. And just as you're about to go to fight people and go through war with, with another tribe and possibly die, then the war paint itself is them donning a new persona to deal with that traumatic current situation. And in those moments, you would certainly want to channel a spirit of pride, of fear, of anger, I suppose, of rage, of fearlessness, and that perhaps the war paint was a way of doing that. Yeah, absolutely, I can believe that. And then obviously, war paint doesn't simply just come down to putting a couple of lines on each cheek. Often war paint is a whole body affair, Um, Space Marine has just said the exact same thing I've said in response. Yeah, so you get it. Yeah, all about wearing a mask. Absolutely. So we're on the same wavelength. Yeah, masks themselves are a major tool that was used in the invocation and veneration of Nephilim throughout folk traditions. I mean, right here on the screen right now, this is the Kratos tradition of Portugal, which is so old. This goes back to Celtic times when Europe was mainly the Celtic tradition. And they know that they're representing the devil when they were this, or demons or devils. They know full well that's what they're doing. That's what the origin is. And they say, we lose ourselves and our personalities when we put on the mask and we become this thing. And then we do stuff we wouldn't normally do for a week. We run around causing chaos. It's the same principle. Paul, did you ever hear the myths about Jesus and cannabis? I haven't heard those myths. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. I'm not going to hold much to it, though. Off the top of my head right now, not knowing anything about it, But no, I haven't heard that myth specifically. Anyone else seen any Jerry Marzinski stuff about schizophrenics? I had Jerry Marzinski on my channel. I have done a talk with him. Go to the live tab on my channel, scroll down, and you will see interview with Jerry Marzinski. But yes, I'm very well aware of his work. Absolutely. Oh, cool. Not seeing that. Saw the Dining Paul interviews with him. Pretty mind blowing. Yeah, that guy's stuff is great. Obviously, he's talking from experience. He knows, he's been on the front line dealing with these entities, and he's a treasure trove of information. Absolutely. Yeah, Jerry's a cool guy. I saw a vid about the lady on the plane coming out and apologising, yet supposedly people were suspicious and did not face match between the original and the apology video. They didn't match up right. Yeah, it could just be a lookalike. It could be, The whole thing seems strange. It seems strange to me. Something is off about it. Like I just feel off watching anything to do with it. Something ain't right. Something's not adding up. Yeah. Pretty much the first thing I ever said when he told me the theory is wrong. Yeah, we're talking about the name of it. Clowns look like Nephilim. Oh, great. Now Kanga Kong's in on it. You're ganging up on me now. Great. Yeah, you're all just a bunch of ungrateful heathens. I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. Um, Accuracy is key. Wife, you're supposed to be on my side. Come on. Come on. Help me out. Here we go. As a matter of fact, Keely, right from the get-go, years ago, I thought it was the opposite, but I understood what he meant. Well, hey, you know what? Like I said, it's my theory. I'll call it the Nephilim look like clowns if I want to. All right. I know you've brought up insane clown posse before. Sorry, I've lost everything. It's all just jumped away from me. And the Juggalos before. I was a devout Juggalo for many years, and it's the reason I met my wife after so many countless encounters with the Juggalos. Yeah, look, there was a recurring theme I noticed from the Juggalos I met. There was almost always some severe abuse trauma they were involved with growing up, which led to many having severe mental disorders, as well as having addictions as well, usually sadly becoming abusers themselves. Yes, that's an interesting one. No, it's not very long-winded for a live chat. This is what I want. I want stuff like this. I have nothing against juggalos or these people who are part of this culture. I understand it's a part of kind of like a desire or a need to feel like you're a part of community. It's a very human need and desire. And if you're from that community in that area and that kind of that vibe and that scene, then it's easy to fall into that kind of thing, and not to think that what you're dressing up as is necessarily anything evil or wrong. It's just a symbol or a uniform or a costume to represent that you're a part of this particular culture or subculture. It's an image to show that you belong in a way. I get that, but uh, in at the same time, I can't just deny all my life's work. It's dangerous to dress this way, and the creators of the culture, the two men who make the Insane Clown Posse and the music, the things they sing about aren't that great. And the things they talk about channeling and being a part of is obviously demonic and satanic to the core, even if they're trying to hide it under irony and layers of falsity or humor. That's how they operate. They are clowns at the end of the day. And it's like I said, you cannot dress like the thing and not end up evoking the thing, unfortunately. Ignorance to the law doesn't mean you're immune to the law. So it's dangerous in that respect as well. But I appreciate what you're saying there. Many people who do end up going down that path are probably people who are already heavily demonized to begin with. And I don't mean demonized as in people think bad things about them and say bad stuff. I mean abused by demonic forces their entire life. Like you mentioned there, they seem to have gone through some kind of abuse or trauma in some way. And that's how the demons get in. That's how they initially get into somebody, through some kind of traumatic event. It's a huge gateway opener, and that's how they get their claws into people, through trauma. And this whole world is geared towards keeping people in as much fear and traumatic states as possible, so you've got to be careful. But thanks for sharing that. My wife says, yeah, I'm not saying I don't understand. I'm just saying it's wrong and it's annoying. Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. You tell me enough. Have you heard Manly P. Hall talk about masks and how they evoke spirits? He told a story about some kid in India who was dressed as some spirit and people subconsciously fearing the mask and the kid. I haven't read Manly P. Hall talk about that, no. But it doesn't sound like he's saying anything I don't already understand. But I will look at to see what he actually said about it. That might come in handy for my book, actually. If you can find me the direct quote, that would be great. Save me a bit of work, but I'll look into it myself. Since it's a scholarly work, I think he should change it. Uh, maybe, maybe we'll see. I probably won't though. Oh my heck, check out how this school has blasphemed God with clown and demonic artwork. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. But if you want to leave me a link, I'll check that out. A little behind on the live video and chat, but I had an acid trip once with a friend where he watched a weird horror graphic movie for some reason, and we were both uncontrollably laughing the whole time. Well, Chris T, that sounds disturbing, but hardly surprising as well. A Nephilim clown spirit with a sick sense of humour. I think psychedelics definitely can break down the barrier between the physical and the spiritual and allow for spirits to more easily inhabit your mind for a time. Looking back now, it probably was a Nephilim clown spirit with a sick sense of humour. Exactly, yeah. Juggalos are actually decent people. They're all social outcasts who never fit in with anyone else. Yeah, that's what I mean. I get it. I'm not casting shade at juggalos, but I can't also just ignore the fact that they dress like demons either. Unfortunately, yeah. If they truly are social outcasts who need to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves and find a community, I'd recommend Jesus personally. He's there for those people. Second woman named in Bible, Namar, first mother of Nephilim. Cathartic Canuck. Look, Ada and Namar were the two daughters. Were they the two daughters of Lamech? Yes. The Book of Lamech of Cain says Namar became the wife of Noah. So that is a serpent seed line of Cain from Namar breeding with the pure Sethite line of Noah after the flood, is what it says there, and there's a lot to make of that. Namar herself never did procreate with the Nephilim, though, or with fallen angels. Though it does say in the Book of Lamech of Cain that she did whore around with them for a long time but never got pregnant. Which is just it's a bizarre, blasphemous, horrible story, to be honest. It goes into great detail about it all. But I don't know exactly what to make of that, which is why I think we shouldn't worry too much about genetics and bloodlines today. I think we should just focus on being close to God and Jesus, and that's it. That's all we can ask for now. I think everything's corrupt, You won't find somebody who doesn't have the corruption within them to some level anymore. This is why we have to be born again. Kanga says, either way is fine, Paul. I don't think it will hinder sales either way. Yeah. Well, listen, right. The first book, I'll call it The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, just because it's based on the series name, which is popular, and everyone knows the theory by that name. And then I'll release a second book a few years down the line, and I'll call that The Clowns Look Like Nephilim. Okay? That could be a two-part series. How's that sound? As a compromise, all right? And then, I think that could be fun. And then I don't know what I could talk about in the second book. I'm sure I'll pick up hundreds of other things to talk about by the time a second book comes round. Or maybe I'll save some of the information in this first book for a second book, and I'll call it The Clowns Look Like Nephilim. And I'll dedicate the whole second book specifically to my wife with a preface explaining this whole scenario in this conversation. How does that sound? We'll do that. Okay? Why would those entities need energy or to drain laughter and crying? I think it's because they don't have a physical body anymore. And they don't feed conventionally like we do. In fact, they hunger all the time, but they have no mouth to feed. I think the cessation of taking in energy from people, or this force we can call loosh, I think it's kind of like a minor relief for them. I think that's what it is. I think it also gives them power as well. I won't be buying it. What's wrong? Okay. I think the whole energy vampire theory is absolute rubbish. Well, it depends who you're defining as an energy vampire. I don't think human beings can be energy vampires. I think that's a load of nonsense too. what's a what's a juggalo? I've heard of gigolos. Yeah, yeah. A juggalo is somebody who is a fan of Insane Clown Posse's music, and they have identified themselves as a part of that group of people who like it so much that they will dress like the Insane Clown Posse's makeup style and go to meetups probably every year or so, um, to celebrate and have a sense of community around a festival involving Insane Clown Posse and their music and their affiliates. That's pretty much it, I suppose. Without saying basically it's a cult, because it's not really, I suppose it isn't really a cult. It's just it's a cultural aesthetic. How my wife destroyed my theory should be the subtitle. Yeah, absolutely. They were cut off from God, so they have to take it from people who still have a connection to God. Understanding conspiracy. Yeah, I don't. Well, there's many theories as to how Loosh works. I'm not saying I'm an expert exactly. All I'm saying is that the Nephilim look like clowns, and that's what I'm going to call the book. Um, talk to my friend Lisa. She'll drain your energy. It's funny. Um, I've met people like that who are just a drain to be around. I have met those people, and it's hard to be around them for too long. Like, it really is. I know what you mean. Like, and you have to wonder, is it the person, or is it now with this new retrospective concept, is it the entity within the person? It's hard to say really, isn't it? Um, but I have met those people who just their very presence brings down a room, and they when they talk, it's just hard to keep going and listen to them. There's something about it. Like, I've met a few at uni. I met a few of those characters at university, and I've also met a couple outside of university. One of my mum's friends was like that, and there's something else. You know what I mean? That you just cannot enjoy their company. It's something weird about it, and it's not like this. I don't necessarily know what they're doing to be like that either. It's just something about it, and they get those people as well who don't shut up. And I'm one to talk. I'm chatting away here for an hour, 20 minutes. But it's these people who have no social awareness to understand when the right time to stop talking is. In social situations and scenarios, and those people can be very draining, very draining. Then I have sympathy for them as well, because I imagine it's some kind of tick they've picked up as a way of coping with some kind of hidden trauma, perhaps. It's a way of coping they have. Maybe it's the fear of silence, perhaps. I don't know. The fear of having to think, and talking helps them stop having to do that, perhaps. Um, I used to avoid having to think and contemplate my traumas by smoking substances. That's how I did it. Maybe that's how they did it. I don't know. But yeah, I have met people who you could, I suppose, call an energetic vampire in some way. Um, I get off the phone with her and I'm exhausted, says Kanga. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to say about, narcissists as well. Narcissism is a huge subcategory within, that kind of fits in with conspiracy quite well. Because we're kind of dealing with narcissism on a huge social level within society, and it's kind of like the people have been made that way by the controllers. And narcissists you could say, are extremely heavily demonically possessed people at the core. If you want to break them down in that way, that could be what they actually are. Because narcissists have this need to basically drain people of everything, their very personage, who they are, their identity. They suck it dry from them, and they make people empty shells of what they were. And once they're done with the person and use them up for everything they could possibly get from them, they chuck them to the side and move on to the next with little remorse or no empathy whatsoever, you know. And in a way, they're like more than just energetic vampires. They literally destroy a person and make them an empty husk of what they used to be. They suck them dry, you know, and they make their victims become personality vacuums in a way, and just no longer who they used to be. And it's abuse. It's pure abuse. You know, it's done through psychological gaslighting and abuse from start to finish. You know, and the love bombing thing as well. And it's, you know, that's horrible to see. It really is horrible to see. You know, narcissism isn't just simply being obsessed with yourself. It's a whole form of abuse that people suffer. You know, I think we've all met a narcissist at some point. You know, when you meet them, and they're not necessarily psychopaths. That's something else. But they're damn close. I'll say that much. Narcissists are energy drainers. Yeah. Social media has led a huge increase in narcissism. People have become lovers of the self. Yeah, you know, that's a huge part of it. Definitely having the God complex as well, and you know this whole me attitude. But it's kind of like you said, the society is designed in a way, and social media is designed in a way to award that type of behavior. And it's sad because you have these good-natured, good-willed people who don't know any better, who copy and mimic that kind of behavior because that's what they believe they have to do to be liked now and have friends. And some people aren't cut out to be like that, and I think it upsets them and hurts people to have to be that way as well. Um, and obviously, some people out there are just wired to absolutely thrive in that kind of environment as well, in an opposite sense. You know? But it's kind of making narcissists out of good people who don't really necessarily want to act that way as well. It's kind of sad. My family's religion do that on an organized level. What is your family's religion, if you don't mind me asking? It's, it's curious to me how popular narcissism has become. Terms of channels popping up online. I personally believe it's more like demon possession or very least attachments. Yeah, there's some demonic element to the whole thing, definitely. But yeah, I know what you mean. There are a lot of channels out there of, you know, how to deal with narcissistic abuse, how to deal with narcissistic parents, or how to deal with a narcissistic partner or spouse, and surviving narcissistic abuse channels everywhere. You know, life coaches and all this sort of stuff. It's a bit. I think that there's big money in it now to become one of those people. And not many of them will talk about the satanic demonic element behind it all. You know, they wouldn't. Um, I suppose they're scared of losing credibility from, because I think you get a lot of new age types who get into that thought process and talking about these type of things, and they kind of the only form of spirituality they're willing to layer on top of the narcissism aspect is that it's just negative, bad energy people, low vibrational frequency people, and the people just need to surround themselves with those who have a higher vibrational frequency of energy, and it starts getting into realms of, you know, woo and nonsense. Um, Trying to put it kindly there. When I think the true element of it really is you're just dealing with either people who are heavily demonically oppressed and people who aren't. And it's demons feeding on the innocent, basically. It's what narcissistic abuse truly is, you know. Because narcissistic abuse, when you look into case studies and listen to the stories, is horrific. It's it's long and drawn out and painful and twisted and sadistic without looking like it on the surface. To the outsider, you know, it's more what's the word? What's that word I'm looking for? Um what's the word where, like, let's say a spy is staying hidden in the shadows, you know, it's like you don't see it happening. Yeah, it's undercover, you know, it's more flies under the radar of people's normal perceptions. And if unless you're a victim of it, you don't see it, type of thing. And that's the problem with the victims of it. They don't feel like they can tell anybody it's true or happening to them because no one will believe them. Because the person, the narcissist, can come across as so human and likable and lovable to the outsider that the victim will seem like the crazy one. It's truly messed up. It's really messed up how it works and how these people truly think. And then obviously narcissists end up having that mask off moment where who they are is revealed, and that's like the one thing they live their entire life to make sure never happens, that people discover what they truly are, you know. And when you do, and you get into the bad side of a narcissist, God help you. It's kind of the thing, like, because a narcissist out for revenge is probably the worst possible thing that you could be a victim of. Um, they know no boundaries to the levels they'll go to get revenge on you, and they will not forgive. They're like a Terminator, They just keep going and going until you're done. They are truly evil. It's terrible. The stories are horrifying. And these people are telling, who are still embroiled in it and haven't escaped, as well. It's in a way, I feel like these are just spiritual forces that we're truly wrestling against. And if you were just to rebuke these evil people in the name of Jesus and stand up to them, I think they would lose pretty quickly. Because I think they operate on fear, and as long as they can keep you scared of them, they have the upper hand. I think there's a lot of that as well. Again, I don't want to give advice because I'm not a psychiatrist or an expert on how to deal with these things, but I will say I have encountered a few in my life. I have made enemies with a couple, and it's sad. And I know a lot. The problem is a lot of narcissists will go after people they think are weak, and a lot of people have made that assumption about me because I'm a kind-hearted person. Okay, and they take that for weakness because I do stuff for other people, and I genuinely say yes to most things within reason, obviously, and I've had people come at me at work in the past, mistaking my kindness for weakness, and I found the best way to defend myself against them was to literally, from the very beginning, as soon as they even try to push you in any way, is to instantly say, absolutely not. Who the hell do you think you are? You do not treat me like that. And they quickly back off, very quickly scurry away and go find the next victim. You've got to slap it down straight away. And that's the only way. It's kind of like their mindset is game recognizes game type of thing. That's how they think, It's all a power dynamic hierarchy. And if you stand up to them, they'll respect you and move on. It's kind of how depraved these people are and how they think. It's messed up. It's messed up that these people covert narcissism. That's the phrase I was looking for. Thank you, Kay Miranda. You've got me there. That's humble stranger covert. Yes, that's the word. So we know it's just on the tip of your tongue, and you just can't get it. But yeah, like I was saying, if you want to deal with a narcissist, the best way is just to shoot that stuff down straight away. Do not give them a foot in the door. Do not allow it. It's kind of, you've got to show them you're a little bit psychotic yourself, in a way, which we all are. We all have our stuff to deal with, but there are some people out there who are just too kind and too nice who will get walked on. And I've been walked all over as well. I've been in those positions where I, have been used. Especially in the work world, it happened all the time. Because again, I'm a nice person, and it got to the point where I didn't realize I was being abused. I was just kind of thinking I was being helpful, but people abuse nice people, unfortunately. Some harsh lessons I've had to learn over the years, but I have encountered a couple of narcissists in my time where I did not stand for it. Before I was saved, I met a couple, and I wasn't who I was today then. I wasn't. I certainly was not in any way, shape, or form Christian at all. During this time, and when you're in that world, were you surrounded by other people who were not Christians and heavily, involved in all sorts of horrible, heinous, weird stuff? You tend to be surrounded by a lot of narcissistic people, because they're also not saved and also in that world and that. And, you meet more than you would when you start living a more Christian lifestyle. So I met a few evil people, I'll call them. That's what they were, bad people. And again, during that time, I myself had to be a little bit like that to survive in these crowds and in these groups. And it's not like I was ever really an evil person, but you've got to kind of defend yourself with just as much witty, narcissistic retorts, just to prove that you're on a level, so they'll leave you alone in a way. It's messed up, social dynamics are really, really weird. And it was hard growing up as a millennial in like the early 2000s. It was in the 2010s, especially with the rise of all the social media as it was then, and it was just so messed up. Now I look back and think about it all. I've met a few. I remember I got locked into not long after I was becoming saved. A little bit before I was saved, I suppose. I was in lockerheads with Stephen Christopher. The guy went by the name Lord Stephen Christ, and I did a case study using him as the example in a video for narcissism and how it works. And obviously I made an enemy of a narcissist there. And yeah, he wasn't happy and he came for me hard, And I can't remember exactly how it all fizzled out, but I had to get rid of my videos due to some kind of strike. I can't remember what was going on exactly. And it got to the point years after the fact where I was just kind of like, I don't want to be the guy who's doing this to this guy. So I kind of got rid of them. And he moved on and did other things with his life. And he did some messed up stuff with some people and went to prison for it. And I heard recently that he's died, actually. At the start of the year, someone told me. But yeah, that was. Now I think back about it, it's kind of scary that I had this psychopathic narcissist and I was in his crosshairs and I just put myself there stupidly. It wasn't clever. That wasn't a smart move. It's best just to avoid them, I realised looking back at it. But I wasn't a smart kid growing up. I was a pretty impulsive, out there, outspoken, stupid guy. And I did put myself in stupid, precarious situations without thinking much about the consequences back then. Like I said, it's only as I got older and wiser, going through, working as a manager as well, you learn how to deal with people in different ways. And as I got saved and started to learn, and get closer to God and change, would I deal with all these things differently now, But God help those people who haven't figured it all out yet, because there's a lot of evil people out there, and you've got to be careful. You have to be careful. Anyway, let's see what people are saying in the chat. When you tell them something you told them before, they shut you up, but carry on with the exact same drama. Drama stores daily, yeah. I'm RH negative. I can certainly testify to some difference between RH positive friends and I. Some positive brothers believe I am watered down Nephilim blood and damned. Gave life Christ 25 years and believe. Narcissist energy drainers, yeah. I believe RH negative is God's people. My family's religion do that on an organisational level. Alright, so it was Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, I've caught up with the chat now. I think there's a link between rampant materialism and increased levels of narcissism. I think it's socially engineered. I believe that probably is the case, yeah. I think it's all by design to turn people into narcissists, to be honest. I think narcissists are easier to control because they are just whim to their emotions quite easily and their desires. It doesn't matter now. She just cut me off, got mad at a comment I made on her birthday. Or B-days are a day apart and she's 1 year older. I said something about a couple more years until the big one and she lost it on me. Oh, I see. JWs, people throw the term around a lot now. To be honest, I don't know much about the Jehovah's Witnesses. We have a few where I live. I know it's quite popular here, and so is Mormonism. I'm right next to a Mormon temple. So it's which is strange for the UK. Okay, but I'm not trying to equate Mormonism with Jehovah's Witnesses or anything. I don't know much about it, to be honest. But I know there is something strange about the beliefs in terms of blood transfusion and other things like that. I don't want to. I wouldn't hazard a guess. I'm not going to go into that. It was through text she carried on how mean I was. You have no idea how I've been an emotional support animal for her for decades. We met at 20. I couldn't believe it. Some people are just best off out of your life, Kanga, to be honest. You meet these people, it happens. Trust me. I've lost a few friends throughout the years who I realised were never actually my friend. And it's sad when that happens, but it's for the best. They project it in a different way. Narcissists can be ugly. Yeah, they can be, of course. Yeah, it's the way you look has nothing to do with being a narcissist. Um, you can look like anything and be a narcissist. I don't miss my sister at all, says my wife. Yeah, yeah. My wife's sister is a piece of work, from what I've heard. I've never met her because she's been cut out of everyone's life. It's one of those. They're extremely cruel and destructive, yes. When all of psychology is based on two men who admits Jung to a spirit guide, Philemon, another who died a schizophrenic and denied God. Yeah. We must be careful labelling mental disorders. Avoid them. They hate being ignored, but don't give in and keep away. Yeah, they call it no contact. You have to go no contact with a narcissist. It's the only way. I had one coworker fall asleep in our work truck, was mumbling, kill Mike, laughing, and going on about how Mike is to blame. I am Mike. Oh, God. I'm sorry about that. How do these conditions get into the DSM anyway? Well, yeah. Red hair determines personality? I don't know about that. He was your classic narcissist. He used to slap my hand when I tried to put on Dr. Vern McGee and get right agree. Over 2 years, he asking me to play McGee. Unfortunately, he digressed. Back. I have no idea what you just said there. A vulnerable narcissist. No, he doesn't. Coming from his wife, he's literally annoyingly calm. What was I in response to? Space Marine. I don't know what Space Marine said. But yeah, I am a pretty calm guy. I try to be calm anyway. Um, oh, I can't find the comment that my wife was responding to. I cannot find it. I'm sure she'll tell me later whatever was said. That's fine. But apparently I'm annoyingly calm, and yeah. I try my best. I've dealt with many narcissists. Simply ignore them and give them the cold shoulder. Seems they hate that, says the drunk wedding photographer. Yeah, they do. It seems like if the tension's not on them, they're not happy. I found narcissists who drain my energy. Maybe they're a demonic element influence. Maybe. My wife is fascinated with Mormons. She knows a lot about that. And the odd thing I hear about it, it just sounds more and more like a messed up cult to me. um, Yep, they hate it. However, in every DSM, it's always stated that the narcissist can never change. I challenge that. But maybe they can. I don't think narcissism is the same as, let's say, being a psychopath. I think it is a lot to do with demonic influence. I really do. And Mormons are all Masons. Yeah, I can believe that as well. Space Marine. I do. From what I've been shown and told, the symbolism I've seen within the temples as well, everything about it screams Masonry to me. So I'm not, I'm not going to buy it myself. I don't buy it. I think, yeah, I think it's a shame that it's so widely spread, to be honest. And yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about the founders, Brigham Young as well, and all that stuff. Trust me, yeah. Um, yeah, it's messed up. So I'm getting messages here. Looks like Mark from My Family Thinks I'm Crazy podcast has got in touch with me to confirm that I will be on with Sam Tripoli tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Yes, I can confirm. So if you don't know, Mark, who runs the My Family Thinks I'm Crazy podcast, um, he does the bookings for Sam Tripoli. He finds people to get on Sam Tripoli's show. So he's the one who got me onto that. So yeah, we're just arranging now to make sure I'm still on for tomorrow, which is good news. Um, I said I can tell that you have a temper because you have red hair. I don't have red hair. My hair is strawberry blonde. Okay, I'll say that now. And it's actually got a hints of like dull gold in there as well. It's closer to blonde than it is red and ginger. I'll say that much now. My beard, however, yes, that has a lot of orange in it. I'll admit. But my hair itself on my body is actually white. My eyebrows are white. My eyelashes are white as it can be. They don't even look like they exist. The hair on my arms is white. The hair on my legs is white. The hair everywhere else, well, is like a shade of dark brown orange. And on my head, it's like a goldeny. The camera doesn't show it justice. The camera changes the color quite a lot, but in person, it's like a weird goldy, muted blonde color. My beard, yes, is dark brown orange. So no, I won't say I have red hair. I think it's unfair to call me a true ginger. I'm not a true ginger, to be honest. I'm just Northern European, through and through. Um, but if you put me next to somebody who does have orange hair, you'll see the stark difference suddenly. As a standalone case at a glance, when there's no one next to me to compare, I suppose you could call me ginger at a glance. But on closer inspection, no. I've lost the chat. It's all flown away from me. I just think narcissists are sinners who give themselves over to pride and vanity. Pretty much. That's pretty much it, yeah. And the desire to be a god themselves, or have power, or exert power over others as though they were a god. The one I have worked with in the past 10 years, who once filmed at the mouth and I spoke of God, slapped my hand when I tried to change the radio. Once asked me to play Dr. Vernon McGee. I did. He listened. Right, okay, I get it now. The average Mormon doesn't even know. That's true, they don't. Let's catch up. What are people saying about Strawberry Blonde? Trust me, I know too much about Mormons without being one, says my wife. She does. She listens to like people who have escaped from Mormonism talks and things like that, and they're really interesting, I'll admit, to listen to. Luciferian with Christian front. The JWs are similar but more subtle. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Again, I wouldn't like to go too deep into that because I don't know enough to talk like I have any authority on the matter, to be honest, about Jehovah's Witnesses. But I have met Jehovah's Witnesses, worked with them, who seem to be very sheltered, live a very sheltered life, and grow up very cut off from, you know, a normal life, and they end up becoming very strange people. I'm not saying that you have, but I have met some that have, because they weren't really allowed to do anything. kind of like, I suppose, an American's version of the Amish in a way, but not as extreme as that. That's all I can really say on that right now from personal experience. Uh, and he's not just saying that either; it genuinely is strawberry blonde. My ginger-haired friend says he's a strawberry blonde, says Mycroft. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I think my wife's backing me up here. I know people do, but genuinely, he is a strawberry blonde. Definitely a ginger beard, though. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I know there are people out there who are legitimately ginger and say, "Nah, I'm strawberry blonde," right? But I am telling you right now, I am the definition of real blonde with a slight tinge of slight reddy orange-ish. But I would say I am blonde. I don't have orange hair. Not at all. And don't let the webcam fool you under an orange light, because that is not the true colour. Yeah, Mormons, they believe they'll be exalted and become gods of their own universe and have many spirit children. They also believe you can have multiple wives in heaven. Yeah, I know, Joshua. Honestly, my wife has told me so much about it. I don't want this to become a Mormon episode right now. But I understand they have some really dodgy beliefs. Um, Humble Stranger has auburn hair and would have to ask my husband about my temper. That's the same lie the devil told in the garden. A ginger at a glance would be the title of your autobiography. I like that. A ginger at a glance, yeah. That's literally the story of my bloody life. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good one. Thanks for that. Sorry, I was saying my coworker when sleeping would mumble things about me. Kill Mike, he's to blame. Would slap my hand if I reached to change the radio. Yeah. I was asking me to play. Yep. Sermons, I see. So he has an issue with listening to sermons, right? Lol, strawberry blonde, me too. People don't believe me when I say that. They say strawberry blonde doesn't exist. It does. It really does. I was born into it, says Mikey. My outlook has never been mainstream. Fair enough. No, look, again, I'm not putting anyone down for the things they were born into. I don't have anything to do with that. I have nothing against anything like that. So it exists as a shade of ginger, says Annie D. Well, Annie D is clearly not an ally. She is not a friend. I was told I would go to that Mormon's hell when I was a kid. They call it outer darkness. There is no light and you just float around for eternity. I see. A whole conversation on Mormonism I could get behind, says my wife. I know more about that than this, yeah. Maybe I should get my wife on one day to give me a breakdown of Mormonism. How's that sound, guys? Would you be interested in listening to that? Will you be doing a book tour? Might be an excuse to visit the UK. I'd love to do a book tour. If someone's going to pay for it, then yeah, I'd travel all across America. That'd be wonderful. just, you know, sign my book. I'll sign my book for people and go all over America from state to state. That would be amazing. I'd love to do an all over America travel tour for my book. I just don't think many people are actually going to read it in the UK, to be honest. I don't know how big of a book it's truly going to be. It'd be wonderful to think it was tour worthy, but I'm going to stay humble here and imagine that's probably not going to be the case. What else have we got here? Strawberries are red, so you're saying you have red hair still. Yeah, strawberries are red, but strawberry blonde does not have any red in it. If you look at like images of strawberry blonde, it's a strange colour. But it certainly has no shades of red in it, so I don't know why it's called strawberry blonde, to be honest. It's just, I don't know. It's just the way. It's just the way it is. You should do a discussion on Mormonism. I live in Salt Lake City. Okay. Well, I would not be an authority on that subject at all. I probably have some research to do first. But yeah, I could get my wife to share what she thinks about it. I live in the capital and the very first temple they built, supposedly. I live next to the, well, near, I won't say next to, but I live close by to the, is it the first UK temple that was ever built? It's bizarre. It's a bizarre looking monstrosity. It looks like the church that Lucifer himself has made. It literally looks like a temple dedicated to Lucifer. I cannot describe it as anything else. It looks like something the Empire from Star Wars would have created themselves if they had a religious element. Okay. It looks ominously terrifying at night time with the way they light it up. It's a scary looking thing, honestly. Hope harder, redhead. Okay, you've got me. Lucifer is Jesus' spirit brother in Mormonism. Oh, good lord. It's my goal to get you on Rogan after your book release. Well, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? We'll talk about the DMT jesters, eh? I think I went to the Outer Darkness on a DMT trip once. I was out for about 5 minutes, but I felt a lot longer, just floating in an endless black void. So you're thinking maybe the Mormons know something about the DMT experience, perhaps? Is that what we're saying there? The DMT trip's a difficult one to quantify, unfortunately. So God knows where you actually went, to be honest. I went to the church as a child, but it never clicked with me. I started talking to God when I was 4. I didn't need their religion, and they don't have proper doctrine compared to the New Testament, no. I love ginger hair. I wish I had ginger hair. Okay, so you are an ally then. You're back on board. Not that I have ginger hair or anything, but it's good to know that you have nothing against gingers. Well, a lot of people from Salt Lake City in Utah. Talk about Jesus coming to America. Um, talk about the temple. I'm a ginger ally too. I just like to make fun of you guys. Hey, look, it's all in good fun. I don't take any offense to it because I'm not a ginger, so it doesn't matter. You know, I get it. I think I'm gonna leave the show here, guys. We're going for 2 hours now. I think it's gone off the rails, to be honest. We're talking about all sorts of stuff, which is cool, you know. But I think it's nice to round it off while there's still some kind of semblance of sense to what we've been discussing. So I'm gonna call it a night there. I think the signal held strong enough. That was a good enough test. I think tomorrow when I'm on the podcast, I'm going to probably sit here and do it. This is probably where it's all the magic will happen. But yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Maybe I will do a future talk about Mormonism. It seems like something you guys might be interested in. It seems like I've got quite a lot of people who have some influence, have some experience with all of that. And who knows, maybe I'll get my wife in on this one as well. Just a random announcement. Obviously, it was in the name of this video. I never really brought it up. But I am considering I'm going to start going on to Twitter, which is now X, and try out this thing called Spaces everyone keeps telling me to get onto, okay? If you don't know what it is, I'm guessing you probably do, and I'm the one been living under a rock, you know? You probably already all know this. But, you know, it's places where basically people can all get together and talk, and there tends to be a host, and they can allow people to talk, and invite them to talk in these big groups. And apparently the spread they have is quite significant. They can reach a lot of people and network quite well. So I'm going to start jumping onto any conspiracy related space that's been made and try and get my 2 cents in there. But I'm also might try and start hosting some of these spaces as well. And it's a good chance for you guys to actually talk with me, use your voice. It's the easiest, quickest way to do that without having to set up Skype and do all sorts of other things. So if you're interested, start following me on Twitter, okay? My handle is at the letter U underscore conspiracy. So that is at capital U underscore conspiracy. And you'll find my logo and you can start following me on Twitter. And I'm going to try and get these spaces started. I might start doing some with the Ravens Watch. He wants to start up his own spaces as well. I think he wants to call it the Nephilim Death Squad, which is fair enough, or whatever. Sounds like fun to me. So I might start doing it with him as well, guys. So if you want to join in, start adding me on Twitter. That's the best thing I can say, and we'll try and get some magical stuff happening there. I think it's good to branch out a little bit. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm going to leave that there. So thanks for listening, as always. If you like what I do, consider going on to Patreon and showing some support there. $5 a month gets you access to a video every week. And obviously other extra stuff as well to do with the book. I'll be bringing more videos this week when I can, guys. Like I said, I've got a few things in the works. When I can find time, I'll get those videos made and out. This Sunday, I don't think I'll have time to do another live show. I am on a podcast, and the only time we could do that is when I would normally do my live show. So yeah, I'll have to maybe do it on Saturday or maybe skip it and do it later in the week. I'm not sure, but we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening, and as always, God bless.